Welcome everyone, Sir Heroscape here today for update number 20. We've got another flying theme going on here and I'm liking it. So it's going to be a great opportunity to see where they go with this because I think this is pretty dang cool. So let's check it out. Ever heard of the Screaming Beavers? The Vor Glide Strikers are the Clockwork Combine's elite light infantry air assault division. Capable of rapid deployment and insertions behind enemy lines, the unit is comprised of all volunteers who have the fortitude, resolution, and training to meet the harsh requirements needed to wear the sky sails. Generally considered glory seekers by the other Clockwork units, the Vor Glide Strikers are nonetheless respected by fellow soldiers for their tenacity and feared by enemies for their effectiveness. So, quite a mouthful there, but pretty straightforward. Nothing too much to read into there. We'll come back though. This is what we're looking at. So the Vor Glide Strikers. Now notice it is a unique squad. And I think based off of this art, well, first off, let's just talk about the art. So again, great job on the art. Looks like we've got a fox or a like a prairie, not a prairie dog. What am I trying to say? Like a wild dog? I don't know. No, that looks definitely more like a fox. Yeah, I'd say fox. Oh yeah, there we go. See, that's more fox-like. I think that's an earlier concept art. Because yeah, this is the same guy. So there's a fox, beaver with a mechanical arm. This looks like a squirrel, maybe? Okay, with like an assault rifle. Yeah, maybe a squirrel. And then I think down here we've got another beaver based off of that tail. Yeah, probably. Wow. Dang. So this is pretty cool. Now, note that it is a unique squad. This is, I'll say, I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed. I mean, I'm not disappointed in the fact that this is new stuff. Of course, it's all exciting. But I'm noticing a theme, right, where we're getting a lot of heroes and unique squads. I love common squads. I'm just going to say it. I love common squads. The most used unique squads, I would say, are like the Krav, Mara Warriors, right? You have a few other, samurai squads that get some use. But generally speaking, unique squads are just really hard to play and make work in the competitive scene. Just because the minute you lose a single figure, you lose a ton of effectiveness, right? You lose a ton of activation power. And so I think there's... So I'm very curious as to why there's such a focus on unique squads. My thought is this, is earlier versions of unique squads, aren't playable as much simply because the minute you lose one, they become a lot harder to use. So my thought is this, I'm thinking that they're focusing on unique squads to actually make unique squads a more of a central focus of army building. But with this caveat that they have the power, the stats, the abilities to keep them in on the same power level of common squads. Now I hesitate on that because I'm not sure I'm crazy about that. I think there's something really cool and special about having a full map start zone full of common squads. And then you've got some support units and whatnot. Like, I love the hordes of units that you can field. So if they are really focusing on unique squads, I think, that's great. But I think, bit of a miss of the mark there. I will say this. This is still only update 20, right? There's still lots of updates. There's still tons of units they can do. I highly doubt there's not going to be any common squads. It just doesn't make sense. It's very curious to me that they're focusing on the unique squads so early. My thought is that's likely because they're maybe a little bit more cool or design oriented, where they can throw a bunch of powers and abilities on them to make them, at the same level as, common squads. Because some common squads, just have one power. Well, it's hard to get excited and hyped about, a common squad that's just kind of a, one power card, and so I imagine that a lot of the hype they're doing is trying to keep us excited about all the different gameplay abilities and techniques, especially because these guys are flying around, which is just cool. So that's my take on it, especially when you come over here and check out what it does indicate. Rapid deployment and insertions behind enemy lines. I think that's referring to stealth flying. So, that's the other thing too, is like common squads can get so overpowered the more abilities you give them, right? With unique squads, you can be a little bit more, you can give them a little bit more oomph, And so, for example, if they do have the ability to maneuver behind enemy lines, in my opinion, the only way you can really do that is if you have stealth flying, or or you have a really high movement and flying. So I'm thinking that they have stealth flying. Other than that, there really isn't an indication on their other abilities. It just kind of gives us a backstory of, who they are and kind of their place in the faction, which is fine. But I think, stealth flying and a ranged attack is going to be pretty potent already. So, well, actually, now that I think about it, there are very few units that can fly and have a ranged attack. It's typically heroes. I'm trying to think. The only other ones I can think of are the Protectors of Ular. And yeah, look at these guys. This guy's like I think that's an assault rifle. Who has the sniper rifle? I think this guy has a sniper rifle. Is that a scope? No. Maybe that's just a bolt action shot or single shot. Maybe that's a sniper. I don't know. They all look actually like they're assault rifles. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, I think these are I can't think of anyone else. Who has flying and range? Protectors of Ular are the only squad I can think of. Off the top of my head, I'd have to give it a little bit more thought. But heroes, there's plenty of heroes with flying and range. But common squads, flying and range. Gosh, either my brain is dying on me or that's really it. Because that's actually a huge, powerful combo. The fact that they can fly and shoot. Now, I don't know what their range is. Maybe it's like 6 or 7. But still, if they have stealth flying and their ability to shoot, they're going to be able to kite around the board pretty effectively. So, actually, now that I think about it, that could be pretty potent. So after a second thought, I'll walk back a little bit and reserve judgment on the types of units for when they've actually announced and given us a broader, wider perspective of the release. Just because we've got unique heroes and unique squads up to this point means absolutely nothing when it comes to are they even going to do common squads? Again, like I've said before. From a business perspective, it makes absolutely no sense to only do uniques, because then you can count the number of people that buy your product and for a fact those people aren't coming back, right? Because there's no reason to, right? Come back to buy, multiple purchases, right? You buy it once, you're done, right? So it makes absolutely no sense from a business perspective. So for those of you that were worried for a second like I was, you know what? Step back. Again, this is just a way to create hype. They're a flying unit. They're a unique squad. So we are getting squads. They're just deciding to do the unique ones first. Again, kind of like I was saying, because you can throw in a lot more abilities on them to make them, on par, to be able to hold their own against common squads or hold their own against heroes. You kind of have to do a little bit more for them. So I do understand that. I just, part of me wants to see the hordes, right? You want to see the common squads coming out and say, okay, well, the common squads for each faction, what are those going to look like, right? Because, you're going to have the Death Forge, melting pot, Death Forge, thing on the map, but you want it surrounded by a bunch of little gnarly peons, right, running around. And so anyway, still, really cool unit. The uniqueness of it, I think is going to be actually quite powerful. Again, I think stealth flying and range those literally could be the only, that could be the only power on the card. It could be just stealth flying, a range of 6, base attack of 3 or 4 even, and they would do work because they'd be able to kite around the board. You engage them, try and lock them down. If they defend, boom, they can fly right out, ping you some more. So that unique squad actually, well, and it's in a squad of 4 as well. If we went back, I don't think I pointed that out. There's 4 separate miniatures in that design. And so that's significant as well, because if one goes down, you can still be pretty effective with 3, right? 3 attacks of, I don't know, 3, right? From height or whatever, from range 6. They seem like a range 6 type of squad. Anyway, so another flying unit, still pretty cool, still excited. So anyway, those are my thoughts. In terms of how many updates are left, a few of you gave some suggestions or guesses. I said 35, I just kind of threw that out there, but then people were talking on the Discord, and I think actually on the YouTube channel, on the comments this last video as well, and someone said, I think 42, and I was like, that's kind of random. But then you mentioned that Pulsecon is September 30th. That's the, Hasbro Pulsecon, right? I mean, that's their main event for the year. And that's, I think, September 30th and October 1st. If any of you are in the area, I don't know where that's taking place. If you're near it, buy a ticket and go. Honestly, I think that's where they're going to do some more major release information. It would make the most sense, right? Gen Con is kind of like the initial, wet the palate, and then, kind of get the community involved and hyped and giving us this information. And then at Pulsecon, it's like, boom, here we go. This is happening to the world, market it to the world. This is the released information. So is that confirmed? No. Is it a good guess? I think so. And so you guys have been good about that. If that's the case, then that gives us a solid, I don't know, what is that? A full month basically left of content. So 42 is not a bad guess, because today's update number 20. And in terms of business days left, I think there's 22, right? Yeah, because it's, let's see, Thursday, Friday for this week, and then, and then 4 more weeks, 5 and 5 and 5 and 5. So that puts us at 22 more updates, plus the previous 20, 42. So I'm gonna change my guess per a few of your comments to 42, because I think that's a very good point. I think we'll have 42 different updates that'll bring us up to Pulsecon, and then Pulsecon, boom, they're gonna lay out the information for us. So good guesses, everyone. Of course, share your comments, thoughts. I enjoy reading them and talking to you on the comments. So let me know what you think. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.